I recently had a minor argument with my video editor over the quality of my videos, specific to sound and editing. I may have mentioned how this brought great dishonor to our clan. He might have said something about equipment issues hindering him. It's possible I shoved him to the ground and forcibly held a katana to his throat.
You can kill me if you want. There's only one way to prove my innocence.
Regardless, the minor squabble was resolved, and now we're rededicated to solving some of the glitches. We celebrated with some cervezas and fish tacos. Well, I mostly did, as he yacked on about something blade through my stomach or something. Just as well as I then fell incredibly ill from some bad guacamole. In my grody state, I drank a Pepto slushie, and seeking refuge from the pain, tried to distract myself with modern entertainment.
Everybody says I've got great balls of fire!
Churchill, Manitoba is the polar bear capital of the world. Aaron Green was walking home from a party when a bear pounced.
I didn't necessarily feel pain, I just felt terror.
I remember my grandmother saying to me, I don't care what they tell you in school.
Polar bear.
It was black.
Unfulfilled and queasy, I curled into a ball on my tatami mat and had a fever dream about westerns.
Okay, come!
I don't let my friends get home.
I think I was born on the wrong continent.
I kind of like this football.
Following the blood moon, I awoke feeling better, and with a craving for a mondo smash of spaghetti. That got me to thinking about the nug cowboy Chad Clint Eastwood. And it occurred to me that while I see a lot of YouTube compadres cover the spaghetti westerns, I don't often see content covering Clint's non-spaghetti westerns. I will of course be touching upon a few well-known classics in this review, and I ask my clan members to remember this isn't an official ranking. These are grouped according to personal preference. Of course, the master is always correct. I am Wiggy Wan, master of the Wiggy Wan ninja clan. The following is a true story. A thunderous crash shook the heavens. This pushed the clouds apart. Then, by the light of the silvery moon, he appeared. The bod god King Keanu, mounted atop the rainbow mecha unicorn. In a fierce gallop, they were upon me until Keanu pulled the reins tight. Whoa. With a voice that blared like a bazillion trumpets, he said to me, "You, Wiggy Man, know that your ninja clan has served me well. But now I must ask more of your righteous software skills. I therefore command you to start making top 5 things videos, Brah. Number 5. 2 Mules for Sister Sarah. Released in 1970 and directed by Don Siegel, best known for the 1956 invasion of the Body Snatchers, Two Mules for Sister Sarah stars Shirley MacLaine and Clint Eastwood. MacLaine, considered at the time a bigger box office draw, received top billing for the picture. However, if you watch the trailer, it's evident someone in marketing had a slightly different opinion.
Clint Eastwood declares war, and the Foreign Legion in Mexico never knows what hit them.
To attack now would be suicide.
But Clint is a one-man suicide squad.
You know who that was? Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood か。あ、違う。Clint Eastwood はとっても高いです。Yes, very tall.
The story follows Hogan, Clint Eastwood, as a Sigma mercenary who comes across a group of banditos who are entertaining a Ginger Betty. He politely encourages them to leave her alone. Only to discover that Betty, Sarah, is a nun. By way of thanks, she convinces Hogan to join her cause to overthrow French-occupied Mexico through joining a group of revolutionaries plotting to take down a French garrison guarding a large safe full of treasure, which will be Hogan's reward. Eastwood and MacLaine have great chemistry that carries the movie, and the tight script allows for playful banter more akin to a romantic comedy.
Don't you want a woman of your own?
What for?
Share your name, bear your children, be a companion.
To ask me to quit drinking, quit gambling, save my money, and to bitch about her aches and pains all day? No, thanks.
Must be a lonely life.
It's a great life. Women when I want them, and none with the name of Hogan.
The film features great set pieces, like a mission to destroy a French ammunition train that provides excellent character growth. And like all great westerns, the epic build-up and conclusion do not disappoint. The movie also features a brilliant Ennio Morricone soundtrack. For physical media collectors, pick up the Kino Lorber 2020 Blu-ray Special Edition. This 2-disc edition features 4K restorations of both the international and domestic cut of the film, plus new audio commentaries and reversible box art. Numero 4. Pale Rider. The theatrical trailer for Pale Rider completely misses the mark tonally. The title card font and upbeat music are entirely out of place with the voiceover.
Warner Brothers will be proud to bring you the next great American Western. Clint Eastwood, Pale Rider. They came out of the mountains to ravage and rape a small mining village. Suddenly, a stranger appeared. And hell followed with him. Clint Eastwood, Pale Rider.
Regardless, the Nug Cowboy Chad turned Pale Rider into the highest-grossing Western of the 1980s. Directing and starring, Eastwood portrays the mysterious Preacher, a drifter who arrives at a desperate mining camp to the ominous passage.
And I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. And hell followed with him.
The film leans heavily on biblical themes, particularly those surrounding the Book of Revelations. Many characters take note that there is something peculiar about the Preacher. His background is teased, but Eastwood's character prefers to be defined by actions. The Preacher operates like a spectral force for justice, as his timely arrival upsets the wicked machinations of mining baron Coy LaHood and his ruthless gang, who are bent on pushing the poor prospectors off their land. At the time of release in 1985, the cast were relatively unknown. Sharp Eyes will spy Michael Moriarty from TV's Law & Order, a baby-faced Chris Penn, for Bond fans, Jaws himself, Richard Keel, and finally, the film introduced a legion of Groms to future soap star and choice Betty, Sidney Penny. With the theme of divine retribution, Pale Rider is an excellent Western that unfortunately has been overlooked and underserved, particularly for collectors who are saddled with a basic DVD to Blu-ray transfer with very limited special features.
Was it you who was responsible for the kind of mystical and supernatural element in the film?
Well, I like that. I like allegorical films, and I've done them before and touched on them before. Playing the loner coming into town, I've played many times before. This picture, he's like an emissary from somewhere to answer this girl's prayer, emissary from wherever.
He's almost like the one horseman of the apocalypse.
Yeah,
really.
he is. He's the pale rider of the pale horse, the fourth horseman of the apocalypse.
Toi de Nombra. Unforgiven. Unforgiven is the story of Kansas pig farmer William Money. An ex-outlaw and widower struggling to raise his children, he is recruited by the Schofield Kid to collect a bounty on a group of cowboys responsible for the permanent disfiguring of a prostitute in Big Whiskey, Wyoming. Will recruits his old outlaw buddy Ned Logan to join he and the Kid. Meantime, aggro British gunfighter English Bob arrives in town to collect the bounty when he's confronted by Sheriff Little Bill Daggett, who makes an example of English Bob, severely beating him to discourage all seeking to claim the bounty. Unforgiven won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, Gene Hackman. Best Film Editing, Joel Cox. Best Director, Clint Eastwood. And Best Picture, Clint Eastwood. It ranks 140th on IMDb's top 250 movies, and stars Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, and Richard Harris. Basically, it is the Ultra Chad of Westerns. The internet is gagging hard on discussions of its plot and its themes, and I don't wish to polish my katana and pretend you've never seen one before. Instead, I humbly want to touch on just one character. The quick-to-bail biographer W. Beauchamp, masterfully portrayed by Sal Rubinek. W. Beauchamp is the perfect metaphor for today's Western media. As English Bob's biographer, it is quickly revealed he is less interested in the truth and more than willing to perpetuate a mythical narrative as it suits him. When Beauchamp is confronted by Little Bill regarding his inaccurate truths, he unapologetically swipes left on English Bob and weasels his way into the sheriff's good graces.
You always were a hell and Jesus with a pistol, Bob. But 7 of them, boy. And you protect that woman and all that. How the hell do you do that?
Let me see. It's generally considered desirable in the publishing business to take a certain liberty when you're depicting the cover scene. It is for reasons involving the marketplace, etc.
Well, Mr. Beauchamp, from what I read this here book, the writing's not that much different than the picture.
See, I consider that to be an accurate depiction of the events. Albeit, all right, there is a certain poetry to the language which I couldn't resist. Actually, then, Mr. Corcoran was faster on the draw than than in English Bob.
That bitch!
This level of subtext in Eastwood's storytelling is unrivaled among his contemporaries, including Sergio Leone and John Ford. This film is a must-own for collectors. While Unforgiven has received a 4K Ultra HD release, I still personally prefer the Blu-ray book that features glossy stills and articles about the movie, and includes 4 making-of documentaries and a commentary by Clint Eastwood and Richard Scheichel. Number 9. High Plains Drifter. In folklore, a spirit of vengeance is said to be the vengeful ghost of a dead person who returns from the afterlife to seek revenge for a cruel, unnatural, or unjust death. Released in 1973, starring and directed by Clint Eastwood, High Plains Drifter tells the story of an unnamed stranger who rides into the corrupt mining town of Largo, where he quickly eliminates the town heavies and drags a bodacious Betty to the livery stable to wax his board without consent.
You dirty bastard!
Wonder what took us so long to get mad.
We learn the stranger has actually just killed the hired guns who were to protect Largo from the wicked Carlin brothers, who were in fact betrayed by the townspeople following the murder of a U.S. Marshal who'd uncovered an uncomfortable truth about the mining operation. The story plays like a horror film, with marquee victims being picked off one by one against a horrific backdrop where in seeming madness the populace of Largo have been convinced to literally paint their town red and rename it Hell. High Plains Drifter is the 5th Western in as many years produced by the Malpaso Company. This production company, formed by Clint Eastwood around 1967, featured several recurring creators behind and in front of the camera. Assembling a Bodie family to support him, Eastwood's Malpaso became renowned for finishing films on schedule and on budget and experiencing more success than most production companies. Malpaso regulars included Jeffrey Lewis, William O'Connell, and John Quaid.
The High Plains Drifter was much more of a cynical character and much more a vengeful character coming back to persecute this town for their complacency and the death of the sheriff.
But he's very like the other characters you played in that he is the lone strong man who comes along and helps the weak. And that's a sort of theme really in your westerns, isn't it?
It is in some of them, yeah. High Plains Drifter, I think the lone man came along and persecuted. Well, he did help the weak, but he persecuted the weak also, who were weak of will. But he helped the less fortunate.
High Plains Drifter lacks polish compared to Eastwood's later directorial output. Yet, its rough and gruff presentation works well with the gritty narrative and diabolical finale. On the physical media front, collect the Kino Lorber 2020 4K Ultra HD reissue with commentary tracks and interviews. Numero uno. The outlaw Josie Wales.
I came here to die with you. Or live with you. Dying ain't so hard for men like you and me. It's living that's hard. When all you've ever cared about has been butchered or raped. Governments don't live together. People live together. From governments, you don't always get a fair word or a fair fight. Well, I've come here to give you either one. Or get either one from you. I came here like this so you'll know my word of death is true. And that my word of life is then true.
And your word of death?
It's here in my pistols, there in your rifles. I'm here for either one.
It's said that governments are achieved by the double tongues. There is iron in your words of death for all Comanche to see, and so there is iron in your words of life. No signed paper can hold the iron. It must come from men. The words of 10 bearers carries the same iron of life and death. It is good that warriors such as we meet in the struggle of life or death.
The Outlaw Josie Wales is the best Western ever made. I might be a Hodad dick-dragger, but as a master ninja, I've read from the ancient texts, and through meditation have connected to the divine voice carried on the back of the rainbow mecha unicorn. And one truth rises above the rest. The outlaw Josie Wales is the dark side of the moon. Nay, the creation of Adam. No, the Great Pyramid. Oh, even the Bugatti Veyron. No, the Raquel Welch of Westerns. The finest Western Malpaso ever produced appeared in cinemas in 1976. Directed by and starring Clint Eastwood, and adapted from Forrest Carter's novel Gone to Texas, The Outlaw Josie Wales is about a Missouri farmer on a quest for revenge when a renegade band of Union cavalry known as the Redlegs raid his farm and murder his family. Wales joins the Confederacy, hoping to cross paths with the malicious leader of the Redlegs, Captain Terrell. Instead, having lost the war, his group of riding companions, known as bushwhackers, are cornered and forced to surrender. Following a sickening betrayal, Wales finds himself on the run. Now, a major bounty on his head, hunted by friend and foe, and leaving a trail of destruction in his wake, the outlaw Josie Wales is born.
Whenever I get to liking someone, they ain't around long.
I notice when you get to disliking someone, they ain't around for long either.
You're wanted, Wales.
You a bounty hunter?
Man's got to do something for a living these days.
Dying ain't much of a living, boy.
He was out for revenge, and they were out for his blood. And when you're an outlaw, there's no turning back.
You're all alone now, Wales.
The Malpaso regulars appear as key supporting characters once more, including William O'Connell, John Quaid, and Clint's all-time leading Betty, Sandra Locke, who in this picture plays against type as an unspoiled, innocent love interest. But the real standout of the cast is the enigmatic Chief Dan George as Lone Wati.
I thought you might be someone who would sneak up behind me with a gun.
Where'd you ever get an idea like that? Besides, it ain't supposed to be easy to sneak up behind an Indian.
I'm an Indian, all right. But here in the nation, they call us the civilized tribe. They call us civilized because we're easy to sneak up on. White men have been sneaking up on us for years. I have a fine woman and 2 sons, but they all died on the Trail of Tears. And now the white man is sneaking up on me again.
At the 1977 Oscars, the outlaw Josie Wales was snubbed a Best Picture nomination. The Academy were clearly smoking the jazz cabbage, only nominating Outlaw for Best Original Music Score. The film would receive significant accolades from critics and was deemed culturally significant by the United States Library of Congress, where it was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry. But you won't need to wait 1,000 years to dig it out of an old archive. Instead, pick up the 2011 Blu-ray book featuring brilliant production notes, trivia, and a Clint Eastwood Westerns filmography among its special features.
Hey, what if you have to pee when you're on fire?
Oh, it's awesome. It's like a flamethrower, you know, it's like...
Sand ninjas!